tired, they approach you like this. They actually send you messages. Go here, do this. That's happened a couple of times to go somewhere, and I saw a UFO. And this one made me tired. They make you tired, and I laid down. I was on my elbow, looking out the door, just resting my back. And I don't take naps, so I don't sleep during the day at all. And so I don't like to. So I didn't fall asleep. I was wide awake, looking out the door. And then I heard the static electricity beside the bed. It was so loud. I turned around to take a look at what it was, and all of a sudden it hit me in the shoulder. And then I just straightened out, and I was paralyzed. I couldn't move. And then I tried to move just a little bit again, and it hit me again, and I was paralyzed. And I thought, well, I better not move again. Whatever was doing this, I knew exactly what it was. I knew it had something to do with ET. So I knew just to kind of lay there. My left arm was up against the headboard, and I could move my fingers. And then I heard a voice coming from the hallway. And that voice said, Dave, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. And that voice was my dead sister's voice from 4 years earlier. She died of cancer 4 years before that. And I said, do what, sissy? And I said, come to the door so I can see you. So I was wide awake. I was looking out this very brightly sunlit door. And she said, I can't do that. I can't do that. Then all of a sudden I felt this motion in my fingers in my left hand, and it was a baby's hand. I pulled down on its fingers and touched its palm. I was able to move just the very tips of my fingers, and I felt a baby's hand. And I said, what in the world is this all about? And then I kind of thought, well, maybe this has something to do with some of the semen samples. I was able to think, because I had fear in me about the electrical shock, but then I felt something heavy set beside me against my waistline. Then I thought, oh no, what's next? And I hollered out. I said, oh God, help me. And then it stopped. It all went away. I jumped out of the bed. I said, oh my God, what happened? What's going on here? And that was quite obvious, what happened with all this electrical static.
Now, did it hurt when you got zapped? I know that Calvin Parker said that he got zapped, when he was on the dock by whatever the creature was, or the robot or whatever. And he said that they zapped him a couple times, and it actually hurt really bad.
No, it didn't. It didn't hurt, because I think what happened at the same time when they zapped me, it was an anesthetic, at the same time. So the pain wasn't there because you were knocked. You were paralyzed. It was kind of like having a spinal tap or whatever. They deaden your legs with anesthetic, and it kind of felt like that. It was like an anesthetic, so I didn't really feel the pain. Afterwards, I felt tight. Muscles were a little stiff. Like I've had electrical shocks before, and that's what it kind of felt like. But at the time, I didn't feel the pain because it was an anesthetic feeling. I was numb, so it didn't really hurt like that. Like I said, different people, different experiences, maybe different ETs. Maybe also they also noticed something else. They probably noticed that they know our bodies probably better than we do when they examine us. They probably found out that I had a heart stent. And so they didn't want to do too much to me to kill me, just like Travis Walton. I think he said that they probably killed him, and they had to bring him back on the ship to bring him back to life. So they don't want to do that to us, especially the good ones, like the Nordics, the Greys that are working with the Nordics. And I saw a Nordic in a regressed experience. And so, but I guess I need to really follow up. I talked to Daryl Sims here a while back. You know Daryl Sims, don't you, Gary?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I talked to him a couple of times throughout all these experiences. I've sent him some pictures. Also, Grant Cameron, I have close ties with him. I sent him pictures of the airports, the things that come out of nowhere. But I talked to Daryl. There's something that's a marker that maybe that's going to shine some light on what you were thinking about how do they find us. Well, when I went to the airport, I went like overseas to the Philippines to visit my wife's family. I was in Alaska, and I went through the checkout and then, of course, the baggage thing. Then they run you through this machine that you stand there and you hold your arms in the air, and this machine goes around you. And what it picks up is like explosives, gunpowder, are things that don't belong on your body. That's exactly what it's supposed to pick up. And when I got off of this thing, my wife says, "Come on, baby, let's go." And the guy grabbed me by the arm, TSA agent. He said, "You're not going anywhere." I said, "What are you talking about?" And he showed me this diagram of a human body. He said, "See all them orange spots up there?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "What are those?" He says, "I don't know." And he was scared, and he was mad at the same time. And there was about 5 orange circular spots on my chest and on my right shoulder, and one in my stomach. And I said, "Well, that may be the metal in my back, sir." He said, "It's not your back." I mean, he was mad. He pulled me to the side, and then another agent come over, and they patted me down. They took swabs of my arms, my legs, and my hands, my forehead, and they patted me down, wand me again, and then they give me a red card to show to the person I'm supposed to have a boarding pass with. So I thought, what's going on? I asked him again. I said, "Do you people know what those are?" He said, "No, we don't. We've never seen those before." And that, I would have left that alone, but for the fact that it happened again in Seattle a year later. The same thing happened about a year or so later in 2015, so it's close to 2016. It happened to me in Seattle, and I told my wife, "Oh no, this machine." And so I went through the machine, and there it went. There was those orange balls again across my chest and in my stomach, and they didn't know what they were. Even 3 of them were there standing there. Said, "We don't know what those are." And they checked me down. I said, "Yeah, I know the routine." Okay. I stepped aside, and they really worked me over. And then they finally let me go. But they kept staring at me when I was walking away. And I kept asking them, "What are they? What are they?" They said, "We don't know. But they don't belong on or in your body." I said, "Okay." So just recently, I just kind of thought, well, I might be going overseas again in this January, and I need to find out what these things are. So I talked to Daryl Sims. He said, "Get a black light, hold the black light up to you, and turn the room, make the room dark, and see if you see these things." And I did that. I didn't see anything. And he says, "Also, go to your doctor and say you want a chest X-ray. Don't tell him what it's for." I said, "No, I won't tell him what it's for. I don't know what it is, so I can't tell him." So the doctor ordered me chest X-rays, and I just got the results yesterday, and they were negative. They didn't see them.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So you ask how they track you. I think there's these, whatever these implants are, they leave energy. This machine, this TSA machine, it's not an X-ray machine anymore. The big one isn't, because people complained about too many X-rays being shot at them. So this is a frequency machine. I did some research on it, and then it says before 2014, these machines picked up sweat. Like if somebody was hot, it'd pick up a little bit of sweat. It may turn up, splotchy on you. But they actually calibrated the new machines. They reworked them so as they don't pick up sweat. They go deeper than sweat now, so the sweat don't show up. So it's not that anymore. So I thought, oh wow, what is it? So that's where I'm at, Gary, with that.
Well, it sounds like you're definitely implanted and tagged. I tell you that.
Yeah. So the orange spots, I think they're a frequency, because of the frequency machine picked them up. They have to be some energy frequency that's in me. I had that in my car one time in the console, coming back from out west, and the heat on my console was 178 degrees, and I laid my leg up against it by the gas pedal, and it hurt. It burnt, actually. And I took it to a dealership, and I said, "It's 178. And they said, "Oh, you're lying. You're kidding us, Dave. Come on, we know you." So the manager went and shot the heat gun on it. He turned around and he said, "Yeah," he said, "it is 178. He says, there shouldn't be any heat there in that area, that console." And I said, "What can you do?" He said, "They went inside, they tore it apart, and they checked the insulation. They said there's nothing there that could cause that." And I said, "Okay." I turned to one of the guys and I said, "I might know." And they said, "Well, what we're going to do is put insulation in." I said, "Well, you better have metal-backed insulation." They said, "Well, we'll put insulation." They put insulation that didn't work. They went and got the metal-backed, aluminum-backed insulation. They put that in there, and it worked. And they looked at me and said, "How'd you know?" I said, "I have my guesses, my theories."
It sounds like to jam the frequencies, whatever it's on.
Right. And what they can do is actually leave a little ball of energy wherever they want. It's kind of like an invisible tag where they can follow you with that. And that's how that Japanese gal saw me. She saw that I had these orange spots on me, and she recognized me right off the bat.
So what do you plan to do in the future about what's going on with you? I mean, do you ever get concerned? Does your wife ever get concerned?
Yes, she does. She tells me that I should be careful, not to, be involved too much. But I told her, I said, well, I don't have anything really to hide from the government. I have never had any incidents that had the military and ETs together. Those are things that they're concerned about. I don't know any of that stuff. All I know is that ET abductions and UFOs is what I know. I don't know anything about the military. I know that there's a lot of theories that they work with them, but I don't know that.
Well, I don't know. Have you ever listened to Mary Joyce when she's been on my show? She runs a reporting center for UFOs and cryptics out of, North Carolina. And she claims, not too far from her, there's an underground base. And she, from reports from government people that come forward to her, said that the aliens are working with the government, giving technology to the government. But what Mary said, that these particular, whatever species of aliens are not friendly towards human. They like human. Like that old Twilight Zone.
Right.
They love humans.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they invite you over for a barbecue, you don't want to go because you might be the meal.
I heard the tall whites sometimes work with our technology groups, but I believe that yes, our government probably knows a lot more than we do. I saw where Grant Cameron and Dolan got together on these secret papers that they found, and there was a lot of I guess poo-poo about that. They didn't believe it. They thought they were fraud, and I think they got together and tried to present these papers that a lot of people like Alan J. Heinrich was hiding in a box, and they got his box, and they got these documents out, and they found that a lot of this stuff that's been going on has been true with UFO and abductions. And they've gotten other documents in which could prove disclosure. Grant Cameron was saying on the video, I watched that he said there's a lot of researchers who have a lot of paperwork and knowledge of UFOs and abductions, but they don't bring them forward. And they said, we only have ourselves to blame about this disclosure because we're not bringing everything forward. Well, I'm trying to bring my experiences forward.
Yeah, well, you did a good job tonight. Do you know the hour went by that fast?
Yeah, I noticed. I'm looking at the clock, and I said, wow, because there's other things I wanted to discuss, I guess, but we've done shows together before.
I tell you what, because I'm just coming from, being off for, a long time, I do think I have one day next week open. I can give you what day it is, and I can have you back on again.
Well, give me write me a text or a messenger, and then I'll put it in. I got, and because of you, I'm blaming you, Gary.
Uh-oh.
I've got 4 more interviews this week before Sunday.
Oh wow! Well, it gives you something to do, doesn't it, my friend?
Yeah, it does. But it's kind of like wow. It's and if you listen to all my interviews, you'll find that I tell the same story the same way each time.
Well, that's proof right there. What I notice, like when I'll get a guest on my show and then I listen to him on another show and another show, the story changes on everything just a little bit because they forget what they're saying.
Well, I don't go from notes. I just go by memory. I even remember a lot of the dates on the big important things, events that happen, and I know just about where these other things happen, what month. It was in February when I was that real abduction case happened. February of I think it was 2012,